Well, Mark and I have prepared some items for you, and thank you so much for spending time together on a Friday afternoon. The most requested topic that we heard last time, which is a super common one, was how do we generate more leads, more business? And I want to show you a strategy that we can implement together right now. And it's what we call the Lighthouse client. So let me share my screen here, and then you guys will see what this is. Now, some of you weren't in our last think tank where we had a series of documents, and that's okay. Think, is there a group or some other way where we can share this? I'm going to share these documents, and we're also going to do a number of exercises together. Okay, can you guys see this? Let me know in the chat. Tell me yes in the chat if you can see this. In terms of growing an agency, there's things that you need to do to get it set up, like these kinds of forms, which you can skin. We have them set up inside Infusionsoft, but they're Google Docs, they're PDFs, right? Here they are as Google Docs. And there's process components that you need, and there's people components that you put on top of that. Today, I want to talk about a lighthouse, which is how you hone in on the particular niche that you're going to serve. So it could be personal branding for restaurant owners, right? Or it could be dentists or real estate agents. And it's not choosing just a vertical, but a particular angle that you have. And in order to do that, we have to do our X, Y, and Z, which we talked about last time. And that is this, right? I help X achieve Y through Z. Does anyone here not have a particular niche that they focus down on, that they just absolutely dominate in that particular niche? I'd love to hear in the comments, like what is your niche?
Anybody that wants to close business.
In the chat, right? Let us know in the chat. What is the niche that you focus on? Roofing, says Mitch. And in just a minute, Mark's going to tell you more about this XYZ model. Or you don't, or if you don't know, say you don't know, or you're still looking for one. Or you're just taking whatever leads you can get because you're just starting, which is common, right? You got to start somewhere. When you don't have any clients, you'll take on anybody, right? Create a small local business all over the place. Okay, so this is common for folks who are not seven-figure businesses. And what happens with new agencies is because you don't have a lot of clients and you want to say yes to anything, that actually starts putting you further and further away from being able to have perceived authority in a particular area that you can get more and more of. I think, are we missing a couple people who've not responded yet?
I'm not sure, but yeah, I just want to add to your point that by broadcasting your niche early, it helps avoid those kinds of problems. So, and it also helps you focus on what you're going to be doing, keeps you on track so that you don't have that, what's it called, that drift that a lot of starting businesses have.
So Mark and I, we were with our buddy Tommy, who runs a garage door service business. A couple days ago, we were on his podcast. He started the thing a few years ago with $50,000 of debt, and now he's got 250 employees and 45 million in sales. And he's expanding to rapidly become the #1 guy in garage doors, right? He's got the top YouTube videos. Like if you search like how do you repair a garage door, like you'll see he like completely dominates this, right? And think about it this way. When you completely own one niche, so it could be, orthodontists or personal injury attorneys, whatever it might be, what is the perceived authority when you say, this is what I focus on, and I've done it many times, and I've got lots of reference clients, versus you have a dog's breakfast, where you have a restaurant, you got a chiropractor, you have a real estate agent, you have a friend who has some kind of e-commerce startup but would like to get big. You know what I'm talking about? I see this all the time. This is probably the most common issue we see with new agency owners, is they'll just take on anything, but you've got to niche down to one particular area. Now, who here has, or if you guys don't mind, oh, there we go. CJ says hospitality. How many clients do you have? Right. Let me know in the chat, how many clients do you have? And that will then tell us how easy it's going to be to find a lighthouse. A lighthouse is your shining example that you can then get 10 more of the same thing. Wow, Mitch has got 26. Jay's got 80 to 100. 43, says Jeff. That is awesome. If I only had like 5 or 6, I'd say, holy moly. CJ's got 20 to 30. Okay. Awesome. About a dozen, says Andrew. Okay. Okay, good. All right, now let's come over here. Actually, I skipped too far ahead. Do you want to talk about X, Y, and Z, Mark? And then I'm going to show you how to identify a Lighthouse client.
Are you still trying to open something, or?
Oh, am I not? Can you guys see my screen? I got a picture of this XYZ presentation. You got Mark and Susan.
Yeah, why don't you scroll down? Let's see what's in there, and we'll all talk about it as we go. So you want to figure out who you're targeting. You give that business the right audiences, and you have to have goals in mind. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like self-explanatory, but that's probably because we've just been going over it for so many months and formulating this whole thing. Yeah, this is basically not only is this a template for a tagline, but it's kind of just overall instructions. I think this is where all of the other different acronyms we're going to be bringing out kind of stem from. I would say this is probably pretty much at the core. Would you agree?
Yeah, it goes back to your why. It's the anchor of your topic wheel, which is what we're going to cover later. And when you have a clear why, when you have a Lighthouse client, it is so easy to get more clients in that same vertical. Let me ask you, do you guys think, is it more effort to service 50 chiropractors or 5 completely random businesses? What's more effort? Like, let me know in the chat. What do you think is more effort? 50 of the same kind or 5 random businesses? Who's more effort? Random for sure. Random. Yep, says CJ and Jay. Yep, Jeff. Thank you. So you guys see there is tremendous power in the perceived authority, whether or not you're actually better at restaurant owners, but there's perceived authority when you say you do that, and you can charge more for it as well, right? Going to like a random doctor versus you have a particular medical condition and you go to a doctor whose service is just that, there's higher perceived authority. So for those of you who have, which is everyone here, more than a dozen clients, I want you to go through an exercise. You can either do it now or you could save it for later or just kind of do it in your head and list all your clients. We're on step 8, by the way, here, if you guys can see this, to find a Lighthouse client. List all the clients as rows. You can do it in Google Docs. I tend to like to do it on pen and paper because I'm old fashioned. And then you're going to use 3 columns. And you're going to rate these clients, each of them on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. So the first column is ease, which is how easy is it to get the work done for them? And if it's really easy, then the number is 5, right? 5 is a good score. The higher the number it is, the better it is. 1 means it's difficult, like it's enterprise software, it's a national client. Or 5 is something easy because, you know, in that particular industry, they don't have websites. They don't do remarketing. They don't know how to gather videos. They don't know what leads are worth. They don't answer the phone. They don't, you know, they suck at marketing, right? And 2 is fit. Or another way to think of that is monetarily, how much are you able to make? Sorry, I got my iPhone connected to this. How much money can you generate from them on an average deal size? Because there's some people, they're only a couple $100 a month. Some people are thousands of dollars per month, right? So the larger that number is, then the better it is. And then the third column, differentiation, is how much perceived differentiation do you have? Because there's a lot of folks that say, well, I do SEO for auto repair shops, for example, right? Well, SEO, everyone says they know how to do SEO. So it's kind of tough to have a perceived differentiation. So a perceived competitive advantage is one where you credibly are better. I'm not saying whether you actually are good at SEO or PPC or landing pages or writing copy. I'm saying, if you say that you do this, or based on what you have, will the common person immediately say, yes, they clearly are better in that particular category, right? So we've spent $1 billion on Facebook and Google ads in the last 15 years. And even though we've spent more money on Google than Facebook, Mark and I have more perceived authority when it comes to Facebook and social media, even though we have more actual authority when it comes to Google, because we've been doing Google ads for forever, right? So you guys understand the difference between that? So let's look at that as ease and ease of execution, right? How much money the average deal is worth, and how much perceived authority or differentiation you have. So a maximum score you could have for the ideal client would be 15 points, because you have 5 points, 5 points, and 5 points. Add that up and then see what kind of pattern you have. When you've listed all your clients, some of them you're going to find will group together. So maybe, CJ's got 20 to 30 clients. Maybe that's across, who knows, 4 or 5 verticals, but group those verticals together and see which one wins. It's an objective way of determining where you should try to pick your next lighthouse, because a lighthouse has to be a repeatable model where it's a recipe where when you get another chiropractor, when you get another restaurant, when you get another roofer, right? When Mitch gets another roofer, he knows exactly what he's going to do. That roofer's already seen what he's done for his lighthouse. The lighthouse is the preeminent example of what he wants to be able to show. And that roofer has to be willing to, well, first off, Mitch has to have gone through all the steps in the checklist, because that's the same thing he's going to implement for everybody else. But he's got to be able to interview that particular roofer, not from a case study or testimonial point of view, but from a, let me actually teach you what's working. Let me teach you how we execute. Let me show you where the common mistakes are. Let me show you what creators are working. Let me show you what it costs per lead. Let me show you what keywords we're bidding on. Let me show you these other components, right? Does anyone have a question about this exercise in determining what your lighthouse should be if you don't have a lighthouse? Or just to make it more open-ended, what do you guys think? I want to hear some feedback about this exercise of determining what your lighthouse category should be, and then choosing a lighthouse client that you, of all your clients, which one should be your lighthouse client? Love to get your thoughts on that. We've done this for a few hundred agencies, and most folks struggle with, they're afraid that if they choose one lighthouse, then they can't do anything else because somehow they're limiting their options. But remember, the more you expand into saying that you do everything, the less business you can actually generate, because then you try to become an agency where you say yes to everything. You guys follow me? Because then it's like, I need business so bad. They say, do you do websites? Yes, I do that. Oh, do you also, can you mow my lawn? Yeah, I can do that too. Can you? Like, no, you can't, right? You know what I mean? Do you ever find yourself in a situation with a prospect and you feel that you want to say yes to everything because you really want the deal? But you really, it's counterintuitive. You have to get one client where you're really kicking butt and get 10 or 100 more of the same thing. But yeah, let me know in the chat, what do you think about this lighthouse strategy? What kind of questions do you have? Have you picked a lighthouse maybe? Or just even though maybe you haven't gone through the exercise of scoring everybody, but generally, do you know which one needs to be your lighthouse? Because it's easy to implement. It's a lot of money, which also ties to, per client, times easy to implement. And you have differentiable value because you can sell more doing the same thing. So Jeff says, in my head, I think restaurants would be the best lighthouse client. Will be interesting to see what it really is. Yeah, that's the thing with testing. So Jeff, do you have a particular restaurant that you think you could put as a lighthouse? Or you could even unmute yourself and let us know. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I don't know what to say on that one exactly, Dennis. But I work with a couple different small chains, and then one that's a large chain that I only work with one of them. But I'd like to have all 75 of their locations on board. So,
and are you able to interview? Like, who are you working with? Is it central marketing? That central brand?
In some cases, they're regional people, and then in other cases, I work directly with the owners on the smaller chains.
Okay, so a lot of franchises.
A a handful of small, or I mean, a few small franchises with probably 5 locations or
Okay.
less, and then one, one or two that are bigger that have opportunity. So,
Okay. Yeah, restaurants, of course, are very different because you have mom and pops all the way up to, like a Chili's, which is going to be very different.
right.
Do you have a documented process that shows how you do this that you can use as legitimately training material? Have you thought about, and if you do, have you thought about creating a mini course against that?
No, I really don't, and no, I haven't thought of that. So, most of the days you're just slinging along. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know the answer to that.
So, and I'm in the same boat as him. Most of my clients are actually most of my clients are restaurants, and that's just not on purpose. It's just I happen to just know a lot of restaurant owners who need marketing, and I've been referred in that place.
Yeah.
I don't even advertise to restaurants. Restaurant owners don't even show up to my workshops, but
Okay.
I do meet with a lot of restaurants and coffee shops.
Mm-hmm.
And the services tend to be geared towards them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
just not my big money clients. My
Okay.
big money clients come in through other avenues, but they are my most consistent. And I would say I found a way to easily work with restaurants because I
Mm-hmm.
just have a formula that works.
Okay. Joe, have you published that formula? And can you make a 1-minute video about that formula and
Well,
interview these
yeah,
clients about that?
Yeah, so I've actually been in the process of attacking YouTube with reviews and all that stuff. So I've been piling up information on educating restaurant owners and finding a way to do education without giving too much.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of attacking the online space right now to just be a leader in it because I did it last year. Earlier last year, every day I was dropping videos and I was getting a lot of inquiries, too many that I can handle.
Yeah.
So I revisited it now where I'm building out that content for that particular reason. So yeah, I've thought about it and that's what I'm in the process of doing.
Okay. Fantastic. Do you guys see the value in narrowing down to, you can still keep the other clients that you have. It doesn't mean you have to fire them, but when you find that point of differentiation and you get more and more of those restaurants, and by the way, you want to be more specific if you can. So a lot of folks will say, well, I help gyms. Well, there's lots of different kinds of gyms, right? Do you help the boutique gyms? Is it CrossFit gyms? Is it the big box gyms? Is it more the personal trainers? Is it more, right? There's so many different gym concepts, right? And same thing with restaurants. Like you said, there are the coffee shops, there are the chains, there's mom and pop, there's bed and breakfast, there's so many, high-end steakhouses, right? Can you imagine, like if you say, I help high-end steakhouses drive more banquet and wedding and, celebration, moment sorts of, right, business, right? You can be like really specific. And then all the content that you have for templates are going to be tuned to that as well. And that actually becomes easier to be able to execute. And you can charge more because you have higher perceived authority. So when you have that lighthouse, you want to then be able to align what you're doing for that business, which is why, how, and what, with your own personal goals. And this is where your why videos come in. When you're a small agency and you're the figurehead, you guys know that people are buying from you. It's not the name of your company. A lot of people, they waste time on their logo and the name of their company and the website. People are buying from you, right? Because they need to talk to you and they're trusting you as a person. So when you talk about things that are important to you and why you like working with roofers, or it doesn't have to be some crazy story about how your dad was a roofer or something like that. It's just because you care about your family and you like taking care of your clients because you view them as part of your family. That's an easy thing to say, right? And you can talk about where you're taking your business and how you take care of your people, and therefore you take care of your clients the same way. I'm just using that as one example of where you can infuse your own personal mission into your company's brand values. So the why is, you're capturing your why and you're capturing the why of the Lighthouse clients that you have. So if you've got barbecue restaurants, well, what is it about barbecue restaurants? Capture their story of your clients. It could be, here, I'll show you. So here on Facebook, my buddy Brandon Hurtado, which is so funny because he was a digital marketing agency owner until about 2 years ago. Actually, no, he still runs this Anchor agency, a successful agency. He's got like 100 clients. But then, as his passion, he started a barbecue. And you can see here, he's won a bunch of prizes, and he's taking it really seriously, right? And it's fun, right? Look at it. He says, I'm backed at Hurtado Barbecue. They're winning these prizes. Look at this stuff, right? He's buying all these things, and he's telling his story. And you, instead of treating this like a case study testimonial, you're more like a journalist and a documentary person. You know, like Mark and I, we go around and we film people and ask them about their business in a documentary, behind the scenes like way. And it's just kind of cool to say, yep, I built this smoker and I use this part and that part, and this is how we season. This is, you know, we cook it for this long. And you see what I'm saying? We're telling the stories that these folks have. And these are why stories highlighting all these business owners. Now, this is why effective lead gen against the Lighthouse strategy is so powerful. When other folks in that Lighthouse category, so other barbecue restaurants, see you spending time with other people, they say like, wow, this guy understands us. This guy knows where we're coming from. He's one of us. Even if you are not a dentist or an orthodontist or a restaurant owner or whatever, but the fact that you're with them, that authority conveys. Then the how is you're teaching how you are running the snapshot reports and saying, you know what, you want to be at least 4.5 in your reviews because this and this and this. And you could even go through some of the snapshot reports of people who are not clients. Of course, you might piss some people off because they get low scores. They might think that you're trying to out them. But Mark and I, for example, we will drive around town. And like, what was it? A couple of weeks ago, we found the lowest rated senior living home in the Phoenix area. And we just needed to see like why that was, right? So we looked it up, right? And on Google and on Yelp, and we drove there and we started looking at why it was that they were rated so poorly. And it's just kind of an interesting piece of content. We're not trying to single one company out, but we just want, it's a great way to teach in a way that captures people's attention because they're thinking, I wonder, I hope that's not me. Let's see who it is, right? You guys follow me? So we're teaching, and we're teaching our knowledge. We're talking about digital marketing, and all this stuff around the how is stuff we've already created. And if you want these documents, if you weren't on our previous call, we've put it together in this master document. Oh, where's the one that we have? Actually, it's not, I actually closed it. But we have one that's called the Social Amplification Engine. And we are happy to take this and skin it for you so that you can then teach anything in the realm of digital marketing. And that way, all you have to do is just get your cell phone and then it's got your pictures and images and other things in there, right? And you're gonna find that in the why, how, and what, the 3 layers of the funnel, that the how is the most powerful part. Because that is that's you know, the meat, and then you have the buns on the top and the bottom, right? So when you're teaching what you know, just like here, you're teaching how you optimize, you're teaching the latest things with Facebook, you're teaching what they need to know to rank in the top 3, you're teaching why there's a funnel, you're teaching why remarketing is important, you're teaching all, you know, why you need Tag Manager, you're referring everything back to a checklist. Now imagine all this stuff is skinned as you, right? Take this, hire a virtual assistant, hire someone from Upwork, hire us to show these potential clients, look, we have a whole process on how we do this whole thing. And then they're going to look at this and say, holy moly, as a roofer, I just want to do roofs. I don't want to be dealing with stuff like this, right? I don't want to have to troubleshoot how I'm doing at different stages. It's not that you're trying to teach them a course. It's that if all you got to do is show them a little bit of this, and they're going to cry uncle. Because they're like, oh my goodness, this whole like website building thing and remarketing pixels is just like way too complicated for me, right? You're not doing it to overwhelm them. You're doing it to show them just enough that you have a process on how you want to do this stuff, right? So if I go back to where we were before here, think of this as a hamburger bun, or you have the bun on the top, the bun on the bottom, and the middle you have this meat. The what is where you're making a pitch. You can say, hey, for $99, I will analyze your business and run through the 6 phases or the 6 categories that we score you on and actually give you feedback on what it means and how you can fix it. So it's not an arbitrary score, but we can actually improve the number of leads that you get to your gym, the number of phone calls that you get, the number of people that walk into your martial arts academy, the number of whatever it is, the business goal that they want. And thus, when you have these 9 videos, 3 of each type to start, or more if you can, because they only take a minute to do each one, so you can be done in 9 minutes if you're good. Now you've got a funnel. It's magnified power against that lighthouse, that one target, and you create a ton of content against that one thing and absolutely kill it. I'm going to show you one example, and then I want to hear your questions on this, okay? So this is our friend Welton. Mark and I have hung out at his place. We've stayed at his mansion. It's a lot of fun. He lives in Las Vegas. We'll take his Model X out for a spin and see how fast it accelerates. You ever tried ludicrous mode? That is so much fun. But you'll see that Welton, he's doing these presentations that are skinned, and he is being interviewed by other people. Now, by the way, he's the funeral director guy, right? So he's constantly making stuff for funeral directors. So if you own a funeral home, you've seen this guy. I mean, you in fact, it's to the point of being irritating because you see this guy. And he's not a great speaker, if you will. See, look, do you think you can do better than this? Listen.
And anytime somebody visits your website, the more trust signal on your website, the more likely they're going to call you. And there's multiple ways to increase trust on your website. For example, faces means trust. You gotta have faces, adding videos before, after, job photos, things like that. But one biggest thing that you can have on your website is to stream in third-party reviews onto your website. So very often what's going to happen—
See, so he's giving lots of cool tips. And as he's traveling, see, look, or actually this is not traveling, but look, he's doing the same thing.
in local search is something called citations. It's mentioning of your business name, address, and phone number. So let me show you here is—
See,
again,
funeral homes. He's dominating funeral
if I
homes.
type in Miami funeral homes, you will see that Google tries to match 3 of the top funeral homes in Miami market. But how does it know which funeral home is the best? And of course, there's bazillions of
Now, if you're a funeral homeowner and you've seen some of his videos and you keep seeing more and more of his videos, look at this. What do you're going to watch him. You're going to trust him.
Winery. And our clients typically ask us about email marketing. Is email marketing dead? Is it still viable? And
so his lighthouse is clearly funeral homes. He's doing tons and tons of why, how, and what content. When he's out traveling, we're seeing, like, when he's having dinner with Mark and I, we're talking about stuff that's nothing to do with funeral homes. We're like, wow, we really like this all-you-can-eat sushi place that we go to, right? Because we're trying to build that relationship as if we already know them. Now that's on his public figure page. Or I'm sorry, that's him as a person. Right here, this is him as a person, you guys know, as a profile. But then on his public figure page, which is a business page. Now he does own Ring Marketing, but he's got 2 business pages. He's got this business page as his name, so it looks like a profile, but it's not. And he has his business, which is where he's grown it to 140 funeral homes that are paying $2,000 a month. And he has a small little office with a few people in it and a bunch of virtual assistants from the Philippines, which is another topic that you guys say that you want to talk about. Full disclosure, Welton's a client of ours, and he's grown because of these very techniques that we're providing here in this think tank. So take advantage of this. This is free. We're showing you how to do this every single step, all the documents, all the processes, including, like here, this timeline video, right? This is a template that we have. You can have whoever or us inject it. Remember you saw the stuff that was on his profile? Look, he's reposting that same stuff onto his public figure page. He's got a book, and it's easy. You can publish books very easily, right? And we can then make sure we get extra reach, and we can start to boost these posts, right? The blue button here lets us boost these posts. That way, we can target people who are members of the National Funeral Directors Association. We can target people who are in Vegas at the Caesars for this particular show. We can target people by their job title. We can do the same thing on LinkedIn, right? When you have a Lighthouse, that allows you to multiply. So if I look up Welton here, and we can go through a few examples of this. Look, he's even copied our headline. Remember we talked about X, Y, and Z? He's got that here, right? Now look at what he's done. Oh, where did we? Oh, sorry, I got to go down here to see his activity. Oh, by the way, on the skills and endorsements, you should have 50. Max out the 50, right? That's how many you want, and it actually will affect what you see in the newsfeed and affect your rankings. So here, if we look at his activity, especially under posts, remember these are the ones that we saw a little bit earlier. See, we just saw this one. Now he's got a bunch of people that are seeing it over here too. And he's teaching, right? You guys already saw this one, right? You guys already saw this one. So this is called cross-posting. When you have a Lighthouse and you have why, how, and what content, you then cross-post it to all these other locations, and that brings people down to where they then feel like they know you. They reach out to you. And you'll find the clients will say the same thing. When you implement this for the clients, they will tell you, I was in the grocery store and someone came up to me and they saw, they said they saw me on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on YouTube or whatever it is. But if you don't have the focusing power of a Lighthouse, this isn't going to generate leads. And the reason why Welton has grown to a nearly 8-figure business is because he's focusing on just making the phone ring for funeral homes. Isn't that really kind of cool? I think it's awesome. So I want to hear what you guys think about where we are so far. What do you think of this, what I'm showing you? And yes, Andrew, we're recording it, so you can come back later. We have all the documents, right? People always ask, can I see the documents? Yes, just assume anything we have here, we can share. A lot of what we're doing is just browsing other examples of folks that we work with. So that's not a presentation, but when we are in a deck, you guys get full access to all this. And that includes being able to reskin these items as yours. That is courtesy of Vendasta, because we want to help you grow. Think of this as the mastermind where you don't have to pay $2,000 a month for coaching. Okay. Yes, Andrew says that's an example of a very specific niche. What do you guys think so far? Because if you guys don't understand the Lighthouse client and how you multiply against the Lighthouse client, you are going to be in trouble with the other aspects of trying to scale leads. Jay says awesome stuff. CJ says good stuff. What about our Vendasta friends? What do you guys think of this? Have you seen this before? Is it novel? Are there ways that you would want to implement it specifically? Are there particular questions that you have? Man, it's like speaking in Asia. In Asia, it's like you don't get the crowd to react.
Yeah, I had one.
I speak in Tokyo often, so I definitely can relate to that.
Yeah. Normally in America and in Canada, you can get people to react, right? They got lots.
No, this is all good information, and like now I understand how I can kind of focus my niche in the restaurant space.
Yeah.
Because I have some pretty dope restaurant concepts under my umbrella that I just need to hone in, and instead of trying to running away from restaurants, I need to just focus on it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Just double down. Whatever's working well, double down on that.
Are you guys going to send that outline of the videos to make? Because I'm actually having an appointment with my videographer to make like a bunch of videos, and that helps me.
Yeah. And by the way, as you'll soon discover with what Mark and I are doing, there is an endless number of documents, and you'll find that if you ask a question, and by the way, if you don't ask the question, you won't get your answer. You won't get what you want. So always ask. No matter what you ask for, we have training on that. Like for example, Joe, on the videos,
yeah,
making 1-minute videos. Here we have a course with a ton of examples on how to do it. So you can give this to your videographer and say, look, we want to do why, how, and what video.
Yeah.
And here's how you do a why video, right?
Yeah.
To be able to capture the meaning of the story. When I was 18, I first tried brisket in Texas. Like, wow, ever since then, I've always tried to find the best brisket. And I believe that, to make great brisket, you have to cook it for at least 12 hours. And thus I started Hurtado Barbecue in Dallas. And I always wanted to bring back what my dad taught me, or that moment when I was 18 and I first tried brisket, right? You see how you can tell stories like that, right? It's a formula to tell stories, because most small business owners and agency owners, they just don't know how to speak. So you break it down here into the framework of how do you tell a 1-minute video. In the beginning, you tell the story in 40 seconds. You give the belief statement in 15, and then you say, I'm Brandon Hurtado, and I founded Hurtado Barbecue to give you that home style taste, right? Whatever it is. And here you break it down even further, right? You break down the when I was into the hook, into the statement of where there was a problem, because there always has to be a story. There has to be some kind of conflict, something to overcome. Rocky gets his butt kicked and he eventually has to kill whoever, right? And that creates the emotional reaction and the bounce when you bring it back to them, and then transitions into the realization of, because of this story that I told you, the meaning and larger extrapolated mission is, I believe that it's really hard to be a local business nowadays because Walmart and the big chains are making it tough for us. There's lots of ways. You don't have to have one belief statement. You can tell lots of stories with lots of belief statements. I believe that family is so important because we need to have a balance. Otherwise, entrepreneurship is so hard and we can easily burn out if we don't have other people on our team and if we don't take care of our bodies. I believe that, or my son is so important to me that even when that the potential new client wanted to meet, I said no, because I promised my son I would be there for the baseball game. Right? You see how you can tell a story, extrapolate to the larger belief behind that, and then say who you are. Most people screw it up because they go the other way around. They say in the beginning of their video, they say, oh, I'm so-and-so with such and such business. Here's the services we provide. This is where we're located on the map. This is like, they just go straight into selling. You haven't earned the right to sell. You have to tell the story, anchor it with a larger thing where people say, oh, I share that same belief too. And then you say who you are, right? You see how this flows? And we got lots and lots of examples of how you can anchor these kinds of emotions. Lots of examples of people making their 1-minute videos right on their cell phone. How do you film it in a certain way? What happens when people who aren't very good? And we get this all the time, because the hardest thing in local marketing is getting the videos from the dang customers. Getting the client, because they're always going to make an excuse about how they don't want to, whatever, they're busy, they don't like, their hair's not good. Just overcome that, and you go meet with them over lunch and just say, hey, let's just film continuously. I'm going to edit it. Don't worry about it. If you screw up the words, just and you hold the phone to the side, so that way they're not looking at the phone, they're just looking at you, and you hold the phone to the side, put it on a tripod. There's lots of ways to do it, right?
Hey, Dennis, that kind of ties into a couple of questions I can see in the chat here. So the first one that relates to that I can see here is Mitchell asked, do you suggest using a gimbal for videos or just hold it up by hand and go? And then the other question I can see there is from Jeff, how much content? Would you be able to, you kind of touched on, just holding up a phone and taking a video. Then you also mentioned using some tripods. Do you have any feedback on those 2 points there?
Yep, Andrew, good point. I didn't see you guys came in with those chat questions. Awesome. So let me say this, because people will get into the little details about, here, I've got the iPhone 11 because it's got the 3 cameras, which is really cool. Or if we're filming in our studio and we've got lots of fancy video equipment. And so people get hung up upon like on gimbals and other, like the kind of lighting you want to have up here. Let me tell you this, here's the answer. The best video is the one you make, okay? I kid you not. In the world of local businesses, it's the one you make. You're not trying to become Jerry Bruckheimer making the next, what's the one with Johnny Depp in the Pirates of the Caribbean, right? Or the next Matrix. Like, you're not trying to win a film award. You're trying to drive leads. That's what you care about. So whatever you can get done in the moment, if it's holding the phone on the side, do that. If it's just, you only have 15 seconds because you're about to go to your next meeting or whatever, just do that. Here, we live and preach, live and breathe all the stuff that we do. Oh, look, I'm going to be in New York. This is cool. Kevin Lee, who's an internet giant. Okay. speaking at this conference. Where's the ones that I've made? Like all these people are tagging me. They make their 1-minute videos. See that? See, they make their 1-minute videos and then they're, we have a Fiverr course on personal branding. Oh, look, she posted a receipt. How kind of her. Let's see here. I got all these speaking things that are clogging up my feed, but when I'm posting, why are these people, man, where are these things? I'm literally just making little videos and little snippets, and it's selfie style, or you have someone else hold it. It's whatever you're able to get done comfortably, right? And instead of taking a picture, do a 15-second video next time. So we have this whole course here, right? On how to do this, and you can go through it at your leisure. You can give it to your video person. We also have a course on video editing for them to use. We are very serious about this. Here's the tools. Here's examples of the kinds of videos that you can make, right? Here's a gratitude video. So maybe in the morning you have your routine. Maybe you're religious or maybe you're not. But people are going to share things like, here's what I'm grateful for.
So
I came out of the shower. Right?
I started a business about a year ago, and the business is all about helping people see and reach their highest potential by showing them better ways to manage their money and use their money, and better ways to just think about themselves as their #1 asset. And I am just about to start my marketing launch campaign. And so before I do so, I really want to invite the people that are my friends or my family in to kind of invite you to come follow my journey, come support what we're doing. At the end of the month, we are actually, our company is launching our first book, The And Asset.
And now he starts to thank all the other people that he likes. Hey, this is just off of some webcam, right? And we'll have like a what video where we're teaching something, or we're making a pitch, or we're showing how do you do something. Like here's a formal how, which is an interview style, right, in the studio, right? You know what these look like, but you don't have to have stuff like on CNN. The point is you have to have some video to be able to anchor each of the 3 levels here. And that's not just you, that's interviewing other people to be able to collect their whys and then build out the topic wheel, right? Which is why, how, and what. The how is those topics that you are teaching how to do digital marketing. You're teaching how do you roast a pork loin or whatever it might be, right? And the what is, hey, I'd love to meet with you and figure out how to grow your business. I'd love to score your business and run an audit. I'd love to build your website. I want to help other restaurants or roofers or whatever your vertical is. All right, let's go back to these questions. Sorry, here. Make sure I'm.
I see a great follow-up question from Mitchell. Just in regards to, like, if you're recording with your phone, do you suggest filming vertically or horizontally, and why?
Most of the time, you're going to want to focus vertically because that's how people are holding their phone, and therefore in the feed, they're giving you the majority of the real estate. Try scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or what, and you'll find that the vertical videos take up more space. The exception when you're going to film horizontally is if you're in a noisy area and you're filming this style with 2 people in an interview. So you're selfie interviewing someone else. That's when I care what you do. I like to have one of these, can you guys see this? This little pop socket thing? Yeah. I'll hold it like this, and the person will be on my right, and you want to actually touch shoulders with them, and you go like this. And you say, hi, I'm here with Andrew. Andrew, tell me such and such. And I go straight into the question, right? Yeah. And you got to learn how to do that. And that's the key for making 1-minute videos, because then that's the stuff that goes into your Amazon photos, for example. Like, look, or I have it backed up 4 places. Everything from my phone. So here last night, Mark and I, we were in Scottsdale at this art thing, right? Drinking champagne. We were teaching for our agency stuff. So like here, like we're just capturing little bits of B-roll that's in vertical and horizontal, right?
So
I can't see your screen there, Dennis.
Oh shoot! Okay, hang on. Sorry. Let me.
No worries.
I think I stopped sharing and let me share again. Let me come over here. My apologies. Yeah, I was showing all this other stuff. That's not, I'm not showing it. All right, sorry. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
I know we have only a few minutes left, but this is worth This is where it's seeing. Right?
Issue that I see with Vendasta, and
so we're capturing behind the scenes.
Right now, they're still working on. Doug is working on.
And when you have a lot of the behind the scenes with yourself, with your clients, people get a sense of who you are. What is this, Microsoft PowerPoint? I'm trying to like interrupt my thing here. But look, or this is an example of a horizontal one that we shot with Zach Benson. Zach Benson flew in from Seoul for us to hang out, right?
Hey everybody.
We're here with Zach Benson, Mark Wagner. Now that's an interview. That's sort of like a podcast style. But there could be lots of other things. And I know it looks like almost ridiculous the number of pictures that we're taking, but look, you have this, we have our Dropbox, we have our iPhotos, we have the Google Photos.
So Dennis, in regards to, would you be able to touch on the amount of content? So Jeff's question, how much content should we actually be posting and how often? You know, should our partners here be trying to post every day or a couple times every day, or just have something consistent and just say, you know, with all the other responsibilities that you have, it's more important to have that consistency of maybe posting twice a week or 3 times a week. Do you have any feedback on that?
So Andrew, I like to think of it as working out. So most of us work out, right? And a lot of us, we struggle because we're so busy. It's like, oh, well, I didn't get to work out this morning, so I'm going to work out tonight. But then you get so busy, it's no, okay, well, tomorrow I'll work out. You never get around to working out, right? Well, think of video as kind of that thing, but instead of going for an hour, no matter how busy you are, do you have 1 minute? Okay, fine, there's a meeting that's starting in 5 minutes from now, right? Okay, but I have 1 minute just to make a quick point. Maybe I'm exiting a meeting and I'll say, wow, that was so amazing. Here's something I learned from Susan Sly, that she sold $1.7 billion and is the top network marketing woman, and she did it because she did this, this, and this, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm with somebody at dinner and we're waiting for the food to come. And I'll say, hey, that thing you just said, that story you said, can we capture that and post it on social media? And then they always say, well, yes, sure. And then you do this and you say, hey, Andrew, tell me, blah, blah, blah. And you have to do it within 3 or 4 seconds, because if you do this 30-second preamble and blah, 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 then you, at that point, then you never even get a chance to talk and no one gets to hear it, right? Go straight to the question, boom, they're talking in 3 seconds. You capture it that way, right? And I find that that's the discipline to get around not making videos, because the best video is the one you make.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I really like that. And I know we're kind of nearing the end of the meeting, but I think that's a great exercise. Maybe we can do it right now. Maybe we can go through the list and somebody can do 15, 20 seconds. What did you find most valuable out of the meeting today? And then before we close out the meeting, we can talk about what we want to review next week. What do you think about that exercise, Dennis? Let's
do it. Can you guys
do it? I can see you there. If you have a go. And for the next person, if you have a webcam, it'd be great to see you on webcam. Let's just roll through it. 15, 20 seconds. What did you find the most value out of the meeting today? So go ahead, Dennis, kick it off.
All of us realize that we have stories to tell, and we're here to amplify and unlock what our clients are already doing, and we're able to show them love, whether it's Valentine's Day or not. Help clients discover how awesome they are.
Nice. Great Valentine's Day shout out. And Andy, I saw you turn your video on. You want to go? Quick 15 seconds.
Yeah, sure. You know, something big takeaway from this, I think, was the breakdown of a video. I think that's something that people can get a little confused on, including myself. But actually seeing how you break it down, why you break it down that way, and the value behind doing that, I think that just gives you a lot of good pointers and direction to go in doing that.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Jeff?
I'll echo what he said. But also, you know, just the whole Lighthouse exercise, I think, is a great way to review our business, look at it, and make sure that we're maximizing our time and efforts. So I think that's a great exercise to go through. We think we know it in our minds, but until we actually write it down on paper, it's probably it might change the outcome. So great. It was great today.
Absolutely. You got to put it on paper, otherwise it doesn't count. You got to put it up on the wall where you can see it. Remind.
How about you, Mitchell? I know you got a webcam over there.
I love seeing the breakdown of it, and it's also just encouraging to see Dennis talk about it and then show exact examples of what you're supposed to do. So you can go, okay, I need to try and do something like that, and know that, one, you're not alone in doing it. There's other people doing it as well.
Great. Thanks for the feedback. How about Jay? Jay, you out there? Do you have a video camera? You have a webcam?
You know what? I will get a webcam for you for next week. We can do
All
that.
right. Okay,
So,
let's hear it.
all right. First thing is, I really liked the idea of not watering down your services. I think carving out your niches is very important. You can spend a lot of time just being the yes man, and it's just counterproductive to the workflow of things. And I also like the concept of actually bringing in your personality and what skill sets you bring to the table a lot more than just being the general marketing guy.
Awesome. And CJ, let's see that shirt again.
There it is. There it is. Happy Valentine's Day. I love the ease, fit, perceived difference 3-column exercise. I think that's a great way for us to just start mapping out clients, and then just putting them through this filter just gives us something new to be thinking about, and just see if there are any themes that emerge that may help us hone in on something that we're not seeing. So I really thought that was helpful. Thank you.